right, everyone. Hello, I'm back. So today I made the mistake of opening Twitter, and I found Secretary Marco Rubio's statement regarding a illegal who sexually assaulted a 10-year-old back in from between 2002 to 2004. It occurred sometime between there. So this is here he has made his statement regarding that. We're also going to look at some Tim Walls and a couple articles as well that cite it. Details are kind of skimpy because he was the criminal was granted a pardon back in was granted a pardon and back in June, and then he has the DHS essentially overrid it um, to 2 days ago. Well, probably a little earlier, but this came out 2 days ago. He overrid it and deported him back to Laos. So the guy's name is Tou Lue Vang, and here is Marco Rubio's statement on the matter.
Just weeks ago, a convicted sex offender and a foreign national was shielded from deportation by the governor of Minnesota. Laotian national Tou Lue Vang was convicted of repeatedly sexually abusing a 10-year-old girl in the state of Minnesota. He even tried to pay his victim for her silence, and he called his heinous crimes a minor thing. Just days before this foreign sex offender was scheduled to be deported, Tim Walz, the governor, issued him a pardon, setting him free to once again endanger the children of America. Well, this week I revoked his legal status in the United States, and as a result, federal agents took him into custody, and as of today, he has been removed from the United States. Because of our action, this foreign criminal will never pose a threat to any American ever again. Americans must never be forced by their elected leaders to live alongside foreign sex criminals who have no right to begin with to reside in our country. This administration will always stand with the American people and defend them from violent criminals.
All right, W. Rubio. I wish I could talk like that man, but good on him. So yeah, there's Rubio's statement, and this is a clip from Fox News about Walz's statement. So do be aware it might be clipped out of context. It is only 24 seconds, but at the same time, Walz is a crazy man. So here we go.
In this case, I would state this, that I can find no reason how Minnesota will be safer or better if Mr. Vang is deported to a country he has not been to since he was a child.
Fox 9 reports Vang's victim wrote a letter to the board forgiving him, and they say that was a key factor in their move to pardon Vang. Charlie Rachling with.
Okay, yep. So apparently there was a letter written by the victim to forgive him, and that's why they granted the pardon. Although honestly, that is a sexually assaulting a 10-year-old child. In my opinion, is a crime that is so heinous that it shouldn't even matter whether whether they forgive him even as an adult or as a child. It doesn't even matter. It's still the state and the government's responsibility to to ensure it doesn't happen again and to have this person removed because that is just a crime so heinous, and he never should have been allowed to stay here for about 20 years without any form of real repercussion other than 30 years of probation. So, so here I asked God about just to get a little more information. I linked a bunch of sites. He committed the crime between 2002 to 2004 when he was about 18, 20 something, and then he took a plea deal. That's why he actually admitted to the crime because he said, "All right, if I admit to the crime, you give me a lesser punishment." So that's what happened. So that's why he only got 30 years of probation. And he actually had an order of removal in 2006, but he couldn't get deported because Laos was not take him. That they're recalcitrant, so they just would not take him. And apparently he was a refugee from 19 this site says in 1990 not 90, 1983 was when he was born, and then he entered in around 1994. Okay, yeah. is correct. 19. He arrived sometime in 1994 as and was granted permanent residence. So not a citizen, not a citizen, but permanent residence because he was a refugee, and that goes away federally. That gets removed after you commit a crime, or like a serious crime. ICE got him in just 2025. This is the and then 2 days ago, Minnesota Board of Pardons gave him just unanimously, keyword there, unanimously a full pardon. And yeah, he wrote a letter. The victim wrote a letter, and other people wrote a letter. And then he was also citing family impacts. I don't really care about that because he was on 20 years of probation. Because so like whoever married him, you married someone who was on 30 years of probation. Like you have to let's be honest, you have to have known that at some point. So you willingly chose to marry a criminal. So you, honestly, you might be a little bit complacent. But oh well, El Bozo don't really care. Yeah. And then something to know here. The pardon wiped his state criminal work record for certain purposes and was intended to aid his fight against deportation, but it did not eliminate federal immigration consequences. Basically, the unanimous pardon was a last-ditch effort to try and keep him within the country. A, a I'm not gonna say it because it's YouTube, but a guy who sexually assaulted a 10-year-old child, and it's crazy because Walls is gonna get a lot of flack, but it was also the Supreme Court and everyone on the Board of Pardons, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and the Supreme Court Chief Justice Natalie Hudson. I think I've heard this name before, which is probably not a good thing. But yeah, that is so bad. This is such a messed up situation, dude. Like we should not be letting in we should not be letting in these foreign nationals, and then when they do come over, they should be removed whenever they commit a crime, especially a serious crime. It's crazy that we just roll over and take this. Yeah, more statements. So here's some statements from deportation and all this stuff from DHS and Rubio, yada yada yada. Guy's just saying it has been public. I asked Grok again, is Vang on the sex offender registry? And no, it's because, well, A, he was deported, so he get removed from that because we don't share a registry with Laos. And then, you know, Minnesota pardon, stores Minnesota rights, yada yada. He's, yeah, the pardon just removed it. So I even tried to look on some online I tried to look online for some public records and I didn't find anything. They just he just doesn't show up at all. So yeah, my guess is his records were expunged, and the only reason why he wasn't granted citizenship or any other privileges was because he was actually convicted, which says some complications because citizenship and all that is handled federally, and they're just simply just said no. So yeah, good there. So I found this article. This is via CIS.org. It's a lot of information, but it goes over everything. I'll link this in the description if you want to read everything. But it got some more detail here, like how he pled guilty on 2005, on October 31st, 2005. It cites it links the specific laws that he did violate according to Minnesota. This is just letter he got back as part of the pardon. And then here, the effect of state pardons on aliens' deportability. An alien cannot be removed on criminal deportation grounds in Section 237A2 for, among other things, an aggravated felony if the alien has been granted a full and unconditional presidential or gubernatorial pardon for the conviction that formed the basis of such charge. Gubernatorial just meaning a pardon from a governor. No. So, Vang must still reopen his October 2006 removal proceedings under Section 240C7 of the INA and have the aggravated felony ground of removal dismissed to escape deportation. While the Supreme Court has held immigration adjudicators have broad discretion to deny such motions, the justices have also concluded the purpose of a motion to reopen is to ensure a proper and lawful disposition. So, yeah. Arguably and likely inescapably, proper disposition here likely means the immigration court's dismissal of his 2006 removal order, as that order relies on Vang's conviction, and conviction is no longer a valid basis for removal by statute. Yeah, so the only he wouldn't get deported if he looked back at the removal proceedings and had that dismissed. But the Supreme Court, I think this is the Minnesota Supreme Court, said that unless this is quoted from something else. I don't know. He didn't say that. But, yeah. So if it wasn't for DHS, he'd probably still be here. And this is just detailing the this is detailing about the ICE and DHS. So yeah. And also keep in mind the guy came in around 1994. So he was around like 10 or 11 at the time. And he actually, according here, when a detective interviewed Mr. Vang, he acknowledged having had sexual contact with the girl and called it a minor thing, according to a criminal complaint. Mr. Vang blamed social cultural norms in Thailand, according to the complaint. This guy went and engaged in sexual acts with a child and then blamed cultural norms in Thailand when he came over as 10 to 11. This just sounds so crazy. Like why are we putting up with it? Like you had like he committed about 7, 8 years after you came in, and he's blaming cultural norms in another country. Like you've been here for 7 years, and then well, I guess he said that at the time, but dead. Dude, that's not an excuse. You've been here for 7 years. Like that's plenty of time to have it. And I like the guy who wrote this because he does actually point this out. He had plenty of time to conform to our cultural norms on sexual contact with children, regardless of whatever is considered acceptable back home. And even though the victim did write a letter and forgive him in a sense, like this is a crime so heinous that it shouldn't even matter. Like he is at just it's something that should have been done 20 years ago. We should have gotten rid of him, and then we didn't. And it's only now that we're actually getting rid of him. And it's not to say he might not come back. He might just, if things continue as they are, he might just come back to the country because he has a family here. The family's not going with him, so he probably has some desire to come back. So like he might come back, but this is just crazy. I also have some other articles here. Oh yeah, yeah, he was arrested in 2005. Da, 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 da. Okay, I already went over this. This is just more. I just did some more reading. I just have open, but yeah, this is crazy. So yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments about this crazy thing. Hopefully, this guy just stays gone, doesn't come back, and hopefully the woke left and like you know our demo, Democrat leaders like Walls and other these other pro pro importation of child molesters. Hopefully they just stay quiet, but I doubt it because this is just this is just taking off. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, hopefully this guy stays gone. All right, that's it from me. Bye.